And the nominations for the British Podcast Awards are the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. The nominations for the British Podcast Awards, powered by Audible, were announced last night. The winners will be announced on July the 23rd in a weekend event. Almost half of UK podcast listeners only started listening in the past year, according to research from Acast and Nielsen. A third say they'll listen more in the next 6 months, outpacing streaming music and video. Podcastle has added video to their remote recording tool. You can now record up to 4K video as well as lossless WAV audio, and the tool records in multitrack as well. Screen sharing and mixed video comes soon. It's part of the company's suite of tools for podcasters. Podbean has announced a live-streamed event focused on Stories of Pride. The free event is on June the 28th and will offer perspectives and insight from LGBTQIA+ podcasters. She Podcasts is presenting a free conversation with 5 podcasters about their creative work, lived experiences, and how race and sexuality inform their podcasting work and creations. Unapologetic, being black and queer in podcasting, is this Thursday. And no more blinded retinas. If you use dark mode and your email software supports it, then Podnews' email today should be in dark mode too. And we'd love to hear from you if it is kind of unreadable. editor@podnews.net would be a good email address to use. And in People News, Chris Boniello has been made VP of Production Services at the Podglomerate. He'll oversee production and audio editing for the Podglomerate's various clients and podcast series. Lewis Goodall is to join Global as co-host for the company's new podcast with Emily Maitlis and John Sopel. Like Maitlis and Sopel, Goodall also joins from the BBC. He was policy editor for BBC Newsnight, their daily news analysis programme. And B.A. Parker has joined NPR's Code Switch as a new host. Parker was most recently the co-host and lead producer of The Cut podcast from New York Magazine. And in podcast news, the new media show comes from the NAB show in the most recent episode with Dan Franks from Podcast Movement and streaming media specialist Dan Rayburn as guests. Climavores is a show for eaters who are trying to navigate the complex relationship between healthy food and a healthy planet. Hosted by journalists Tamar Haspel and Mike Grunwald, they explore the complicated, confusing and surprising relationship between food and the environment. Phoning It In, an improvised phone-in show, has made it to episode 100. Part of the HeadGum network, the show includes a woman who's been stuck in Dublin Airport for the last 2 weeks while waiting to get her teeth done, and a funeral director who tries to convince the host to buy a TV that also comes with a DVD player for some reason. Wimbledon Between the Lines launches today, an official Wimbledon podcast taking listeners around the grounds of the All England Club to reveal stories from the world of tennis and beyond it. It's hosted by Matt Edmondson and Molly King and is sponsored by Evian Natural Mineral Water. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.